Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. We okay?
All right. So now that Gene is on, let me go ahead and hit record, and we will get started. I should be able to record. Randy transferred it to me, so I think I should be able to do that. Maybe not. Huh.
Welcome to Google Meet.
Well, I was looking for where the option to do it would be.
Is it in the 3 dots?
Yeah, see, I don't have it in the 3 dots.
That's the second time we've not had it in 3 dots.
Yeah.
Huh. Do you want me to set up a Zoom and I can record the Zoom?
No,
You do that.
we'll go with this. Let me just log out and log back in real quick. Sometimes it works.
How's it going, Gene? You like the new gig?
I do. It's just we just had 2 days of professional development, and there was no time built in for anything teacher-wise. So I have not a single lesson plan ready for tomorrow, and the kids start tomorrow. So it will be a late night for me. It's going to be very late tonight. I mean, I will be able to find, I'm sure, something I've used in the past, but
Yeah.
I have to dig for it because all of my files from my last job are all kind of dumped in a Google thing, and I don't know how much transferred and how much didn't. So
How we doing, Carl?
it'll be interesting.
So, yeah, still can't record, but I mean, I guess we'll do the best we. Okay, that will work.
Awesome.
So, awesome. All right, so I will call to order our subcommittee meeting at 7:03. So first item on the agenda is approval of the August 24th subcommittee meeting. So I'd entertain a motion for that.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Is there any discussion? No discussion. We'll move to a roll call vote. I'm just gonna go as I see it. So Laura,
Yes.
Jean,
Yes.
chair votes yes. Motion passes. So moving on to the next 3 items. So that we have 3 motions, hopefully recommending goals to the full committee. At this point, I know I'll go ahead and kind of turn the floor over to Dr. Riley to kind of talk us through some of the changes, the things that he's had, and if are you able to share your screen so like that you could put them?
I can share. I've made it a PDF. I'm going to try. This is what I was struggling with. What I tried to do is highlight some proposed changes to the goals, but I couldn't get them to share to the agenda. But let me see if I can present. All right. So I'm going to try to open up a tab first, or a window. There we go. So can everyone see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So I had received feedback from a couple committee members, and I just wanted to put in a couple of. I had sent everyone on the subcommittee a copy of my goals, as we had discussed, and individually asked them if they had feedback. I did hear back from a couple members. There was also some feedback potentially received last night at the management subcommittee, and so I put in a couple of changes that ideally would present or address some of those matters of feedback. The first one, under the first district improvement goal, I could potentially add an action step of implement assessment recommendations to stabilize and improve the operations of the business and HR departments. If people thought that would be good to add. I also received feedback that it would be nice to have some more clear language about how the goals created by the superintendent would then be filtered down into the schools. And so, in addition, possibly could say that building level goals will include specific success criteria that bring all district schools in closer alignment in these areas. So closer alignment in terms of MTSS, and then also school safety and the use of data. I'd be a little hesitant to put down specifics in this case because I think it's something we would talk about as a leadership team and kind of identify the things that are most pressing, perhaps, for them to work at the building level. But I certainly think it's a good idea to try to get a little bit more specific there if it's the committee's will. And then lastly, I got feedback on our district improvement goal number 2, just that the introduction could be more specific. So the language by DESE reads, by late spring, the district will have broad recognition by key stakeholder groups about the district's most critical needs, and we'll have a widely understood process underway to identify the strategies and goals that will address those needs most effectively. Proposed change includes, through the process of developing relationships in the district, an entry plan will be developed to meet the critical needs of key stakeholders. Relationships need to be formed and communication lines made transparent with groups such as families of the district, teachers, and HR and business departments. In addition, the administrators in the district will be communicating monthly to highlight important goals that need to be considered to more closely unify the district. So I'm fine with any of the proposed changes. It's really dependent on the feedback I received from you all. Whatever the will of the committee. I think they're all in the same spirit of what we talked about. I understand, the desire to make sure we're taking care of business by, lack of a better word, in terms of making sure we clean up our practices in central office. Like I would certainly say our business department, our payroll, our HR functions are something that I'm going to concentrate on this year, as is supporting our new principals and, forming a new central office administrative team. So if the will of the committee is to add some action items around that, I'm happy to either adapt them as they were written or to, wordsmith them further, but have the same idea. And then similarly, I would say, I don't mind the recommendation certainly around the team goals, making sure that when we work with the schools around, implementing a form of my goals, that they're aimed towards unifying or, standardizing best practices. We talk about what's the best way for us to work towards having similar experiences or essential experiences in our school to make them more unified across the district. And, I think that ideally we should be having those conversations, or I should be having these conversations with principals when we create the goals. And then, in terms of goal 2, the proposed language change, I think it's just, to make it more clear in terms of the need to communicate, to make it more collaborative with stakeholders, and that it supports their vision and also is aimed towards aligning the work at all our schools. So, personally, I'm fine with any of them, but I would want for us to have some coherence, if we feel like we're going to recommend these or support them to the full committee.
Okay. So I think what I will do is we'll step through them one at a time. And so I would entertain a motion, or I would accept a motion to approve, recommend, or let me pull the exact language from the agenda. So I would take a motion to recommend to the full committee what was just shared with us for goal number 1.
So moved.
Second.
All right, so it's been moved and second to recommend to the full committee the first goal. Now we can kind of have some discussion on it as we see fit.
Jim, could you present that on the screen again? You see number 1?
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
I liked it with the addition.
I canceled out of it. I gotta just get it back real quick. I apologize.
Yeah.
No worries.
Control
one
Shift
of
T to bring it back.
Yeah. I think one of the things that we've seen with the full committee is one of the things is detail and having like detail and measurable things like that are tangible, that are specific to the district. And I thought that your addition that you made for goal 1 really did that.
I agree.
That's not right. Here we go. Sorry about that. So the two things, Laura, that changed was the first one, and I just got a comment because I know we have some folks on the phone just saying that this was kind of meeting the spirit of what people were hoping for. So to implement assessment recommendations to stabilize and improve the operations of the business and HR departments. Yeah. And the second recommendation was just to kind of further the need for the goals in terms of, MTSS development, school safety, and the use of data, that those are also going to inform the practices that are in our school, and with the goal of, becoming closer and in closer alignment in these areas. So that may not, that was my language. I probably isn't the best, but I was trying to capture what the committee members' feedback was just that, the more specific we can be in terms of how these are going to flow through in terms of the building goals, the better.
Yeah, I think these are great additions.
All right. Any other discussion on goal number 1? All right. No further discussion. So we will go to a vote. Again, the motion is to recommend to the full committee goal number 1. So for roll call vote, Laura?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Motion passes. So we'll now move to our second one, which is I would entertain a motion to recommend to the full committee goal number 2 that we see here, presented by Dr. Riley.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Again, open up for discussion for thoughts about the kind of the additions that we see here that Dr. Riley's added.
Yeah, I like the level of detail that you've added here. I think that's a great, clearly articulating the key stakeholders, the relationships, and adding transparency. I think all those are good additions that don't necessarily change the goal, but highlight sort of the methodology of getting to where you want to be.
Yeah, I feel like they're very measurable things, and I think the committee will like knowing exactly what you're looking at and what you've been working on, because you've already really started working on this. So I think that it really does highlight that. I like it. I like all goal 2. I like it.
All right. Any further discussion for goal number 2? Seeing none, then we will move to a roll call vote. Again, the motion is to recommend to the full committee, goal number 2 that we see here. So roll call vote. Laura?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, this passes. So I will now entertain a motion to recommend to the full committee goal number 3.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. And again, for Dr. Riley, there weren't any, you didn't make any changes to this one.
No, to goal 3, pretty much everyone came back that they were in support of it. The only thing I had added to what was the recommended goals, we had talked when we had a conversation previously as a subcommittee to talk about presenting to school committee monthly updates in terms of, what I have been doing in terms of the new superintendent induction program. So I talked about putting that into the superintendent report. And then we talked about doing 2 kind of presentations to school committee in terms of updates, how the learning has been applied and impacted my professional practice, and do those both in December and March, and then have a final report to school committee by April that talks about just that. So those are the things that had been added previously, but most people seem to, I didn't get any feedback on those. Everyone seemed to be in agreement.
So any other discussion on motion for goal number 3? All right, hearing none, we will move to roll call vote. Again, motion is to recommend to the full committee goal number 3. So roll call vote. Laura?
Yes.
Jean?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, so that motion passes. So I will, so Dr. Riley, you can go ahead. I mean, you've got the document now. You can kind of unhighlight the highlighted changes that you've added and kind of send it up to Randy, but then just, I would like in your next report, I would kind of recommend that it's like you've got your goals that you've done up, and then like the next attachment after that being the DESE appendix, just so when people are going through, they can kind of look and see like, oh, this is, it's pretty much in line with what the state says for new superintendent, but really you added to it and have put in things that are specific to the district, which is certainly positive as well. And then I'll send a note to Chair Haber that it's been passed. We've got these motions, and then that we'll have 3 motions, and then, like I said, we'll kind of go from there at our next meeting. So, thank you for that.
Thank you.
So next item on the agenda is our next meeting. So our next meeting is TBD, highly dependent on what happens at the next full committee meeting. If the full committee wants changes, or if the full committee doesn't approve all 3 goals, then we'll need to meet after that and kind of work and see what other work needs to be done. If all 3 goals do pass the committee, then again, I would like for us to meet maybe in November, just so we can just kind of get a check on kind of how the year's been going, how your goals are starting to shape up, just kind of an informal kind of check in with us. So those are kind of my 2 thoughts for when our next meeting would be, really depending on the kind of the outcome of the full committee meeting, but so to be determined. So
does November, so let's say that all the goals are approved and work that is started continues and so on and so forth. Dr. Riley, do you feel that November is a good landing place? Do you feel like that's too far out? Do you like where do you see our work in supporting you?
I love the idea of getting together and checking in. And so I think a lot, so I would say October or November. I think I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of it depends on how the initial work goes with principals. Their goals, I'm trying to think of what our time frame is. I think it was October. So they're going to have their goals in by October 15th. And so I'd say, maybe not before then, because I think if I'd be updating you, it'd be on, this is what I'm working on with the building leaders. But after that, I think any time that worked for the committee would work for me. I think it'd be good at that time too. Honestly, I like the idea of getting back together because you could let me know, like, hey, we like what you're doing in the superintendent's report that's giving us updates on this and this goal, but hey, I don't think we've gotten a lot of data on this goal. It might be more helpful if you do something else. And so I like that because I wouldn't want to go too far down into the year if I'm not getting you what you need. And so I would just say, I'd say probably not before October 15th, but anytime after that. And I'd probably have a better sense probably around that time sooner rather than later. But, otherwise November sounds good right now if everything goes good.
Okay.
And
Well,
I don't think there's any problem with like letting Randy know we need a meeting sooner than November, and we can just schedule something.
yeah, November was
However, we
just,
need to, however we can support you.
yeah, November was just kind of timeline that I rough time that I'd thrown out there because approved middle of September. That's like 6-8 weeks in there. But I mean, at third, fourth week in October. I mean, you'd be, knock on wood, more than a month in at that point, kind of after that October 15th. So, so I mean, I can, at least if nothing else, go ahead and kind of schedule that, have Randy schedule that, look to see what days would work for folks. Look at the last 2 weeks in October. That's because we have some flexibility with that. So,
Or the beginning of November, Carl?
I'll have her start with the last 2 weeks, and then if we can't get anything together, we can kind of look at that first week in November.
Okay.
So
my best days are always Tuesday, Thursday.
those are the harder days for me because of soccer. So we'll see what we can do and what we can come up with.
Yeah. I mean, I can do Monday, Wednesday, but I can't. I might be on the road driving and have to pull over because I'm coming home from Lowell.
Right.
I can relate.
Yes. It'll be darker then, though.
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
I'll be in the dark.
Yeah.
I'll be mysterious.
Take a flashlight.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, thank you for bringing these goals to us. I appreciate that, Dr. Riley.
No, and honestly, thank you to all of you for the feedback and support. It's very much appreciated. So thank you.
All right. Well, again, appreciate everyone carving out a little bit of time on a Tuesday night right before the first day of school for some of us. Me too. So, but with that said, I will entertain, or I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Say. Oh no, sorry. Oh, roll call vote. Roll call vote. Laura.
Yes.
Jean.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you all.
Nice job.
Thank you.
See you later. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Have fun.
Thank you. I will.